on the mountain top, listening to the land. Oh, make 'em stop, please make 'em stop. And it is my breath. People are just passing by.
So what is the general trend of the elders? Like, what is it? What is it they're wanting?
They sort of look after their land. They sort of protect the culture, protect the sacred sites, and self-determine their future and live as they've always lived, looking after the country.
They were trying to stop the Sydney Opera House.
That we demand immediate action.
And that's why I'm in this fight. You know, I walk in both worlds. As you can see, I'm a byproduct of the White Australia policy, but I'm also a tribal man. So I walk in both worlds. I see this fight from both worlds important for all our great-great-grandchildren. This is not about us here right now, because what's happening right now, we know how fraudulent, how criminal, how negligent, how dangerous it is. And
Well, money's power.
Absolutely, and that's what our elders don't want.
Culture's power too.
Culture and land is wealth, and
And the royalties of this great nation are feeding that power. They're tapped into it,
100%.
you know, and
Do you know the statistics on that?
no, I haven't sort of.
I'm going to let it out there.
Break it down for a brother.
Right. So with
And
royalty
this was, when
funds,
did you get this statistic, just recently, or?
no, I found it out a few years ago.
Okay.
So all royalty funds, there's a split. Right, so Northern Land Council take 40% of all royalties from the northern part of the Northern Territory, and all royalties for the southern part of the Northern Territory get split 40% to the Central Land Council. After that, 30% goes to Indigenous Business Australia to fund Indigenous business.
So who's the land council? Who's the, who
Well,
operates?
they're government corporations.
Okay,
Yeah.
so just rewind a minute. What did you call it?
Northern Land Council, Central
So-
Land Council.
Okay, so that's an entity.
Yeah. It's the Aboriginal Land Council.
They're supposed
Yeah,
to,
which wouldn't comply to section
no,
51.
but they're supposed to look after community people, but they're not. They're just looking after themselves. And what they do is that they put in the incorrect custodians over the land to sign off on deals that the government want. That's all the Northern Land Council and Central Land Council.
So those custodians, are they?
They're not the rightful custodians of that land.
So
This
would
is
they
happening
be-
right across Australia.
Are they Aboriginal?
Yes.
They are.
Yeah. Okay.
But I can't.
A bit like Patrick Dobson.
So I'm Luritja. I can't speak a word for Larrakia country. I'm born and bred on Larrakia country.
But it
I can't say nothing for that land. And what the Land Council does is it gets people like me to sign off on deals for Larrakia, claiming that I'm Larrakia. But I'm not. Right. And that's right.
Oh, because it's lived there its whole life.
Right across the whole country.
Yep.
Every Aboriginal community organisation, the corruption, the fraud. There's tribal people from different tribal areas that don't even really know their real connections, that are actually claiming native title for other areas. But because they'll say yes to whatever government or big mining or anyone wants to do, government will say, right, Rod's our man.
Yeah.
Ray won't say yes, but Rod will. Rod's not from there, but he'll still say yes. There's a level of people who are just suffering, a large number who are suffering in every tribal.
I want his justice.
We all want justice.
I live like a peasant in my own land. I live like a pauper. I have my whole life, all right? And my house has not been renovated. I've been here paying rent in my own land for 10 years. It's a shithole, as you can see. And Territory Housing Commission come here and forced me to sign a disclaimer to the fact that I live with asbestos. And if I did not sign the disclaimer, they was going to evict me. My house is ridden with besides pestilence and things that are foreign to my land. Cockroach don't come from my land. Rat don't come from my land.
Mice.
A lot of things don't come from my land. The pestilence I'm living with don't come from me. They're not native. And anyway, they forced me to sign a disclaimer because they was going to beat me. I've got 9 children, brother. You going to put me out in the street with 9 children?
For most of those people who are suffering, amongst that is where you find your real speakers for country. Because the ones who are the honourable, true speakers for their tribal estate won't sell out. Okay, most of that. There's some people who are strong leaders and might be holding good jobs and so forth. There's not a lot of them. Okay, but the reality is once you're receiving money from this corporation, you're going to sing the corporation's song, and that's what a lot of them do. So we move very carefully, and I'll give you an example. So, sovereignty for us is not a consensus. If you've got 99 people who want to remain an Aboriginal citizen slave of their realm, enjoy it. If you've only got one person who wants to stand as a sovereign, because they're a sovereign, they have rightful claim to their country under their sovereign position. Because everything else from 1788 onwards has all been done under fraudulent process. If you took any of the contracts, agreements, native title, or anything to any of the tribal people and said, do you understand it all? You'd be guaranteed they don't understand a fraction of it. And a good example of that is Mark sat down with a couple of elders from Port Julie, senior law people, who signed off on native title. He extracted from that contract the 2 most easiest points that somebody might understand. And he took those 2 points out
to read to them.
He just extracted those 2 points and then read it to him. So he just read it to him. So he said, do you understand these 2 points here? No. And they were the 2 most easiest points to understand in that whole thing, but they've signed off on it. Were you fully informed and translated of this entire contract? No.
And would they acknowledge that they knew what they were getting into contract to?
No, they had no knowledge.
No, the ones giving the contract.
Oh, 100%. That's your land councils.
Do you know?
This is your central land council now.
Okay, do you know what a unilateral mistake is?
Break it down for me.
A unilateral mistake is when party A, I'm making a contract with you, and I know that the terms that you don't understand and that you sign makes it go straight into common law and makes it void. It's called unilateral mistake. It's the most powerful
Unilateral mistake.
unilateral mistake. It is also
That encompasses the meaning of the lines, is it?
it's such a powerful. A lot of people don't use it, and we've only just sort of come across it. But the court goes into equity straight away because you can't take advantage of a party when you have knowledge that you're entering. It has to be status quo.
And see, this is what the government does, right, is that because I've been with all of their meetings around the Northern Territory and talking to Indigenous community people.
Okay.
But that's Robert's thank you to him from Uncle Val.
Yeah.
And Uncle Val dubbed him Waraknamio. And now when Ted signed his name, he puts Waraknamio as
Yep.
part of his signature.
Yep.
That's what we were told, right?
Yep. Fantastic. Very beautiful woman. And he's a very handsome man. Nice offspring. Hey?
Not as beautiful as him. But why did they come here? They don't want to belong. Please, mother, tell me why everything's changed. God gave them heaven, he's not dreaming the same. Well, they say
just invited me to the meetings. And when I went into the government meetings, they were saying, "You can't come." And I said, "Yeah, to me." And I said, "Yes, I can." They've invited me. And then the elders told them, "Yes, we've invited him to come." So the government, that's how they do it. They
What was the
bully
outcome of that
them.
meeting?
Yeah.
What was the outcome of that meeting?
Well, the outcome of the meeting was that they said that they would find interpreters
For each of those languages.
for each of those languages, right? That's what they. Now, first they said that they had interpreters. That interpreter from that community, Groote Island, could speak the dialects. Now, then the old lady that was sitting in front of me, she said, "No, she can't. I know who she is." That's a lie. And then she stood up and said, "How come you answer me?" Because, you know, like, I'm European. You know, how come you answer him and wouldn't answer us?
Really, you've got no representation.
No, from where? Parliament.
Well,
No, we haven't wanted to, for good reason. We want no part of their realm. It's a lie, it's based on fraud.
no.
It's done nothing but genocide for 232 years. It's still killing our people that are raped that nobody even is aware of. You know, like I was saying to you earlier, in Darwin, we have the highest youth suicide rates per capita in the world. I run the only youth healing program that prevents youth suicides, and the government cut 100% of our funding after they evaluated us and proved that the program stops kids suiciding.